I'm 23 years old, and the Mercedes is 24.
Usually you would get to go to the carpool alone if you would have this sticker. You know, those were the vehicles that had the exemption for the carpool lane where you could may know about this. You can tell bad news. Well, yeah, sucks to be you.
Hello, Mr. Differenters. Yeah, I usually don't say it like that, but one thing that kind of speaks the truth about me being Mr. Different is that I am driving a car that is older than me. I'm 23 years old, and the Mercedes is 24. So the time is 1:21 p.m. and today's Wednesday the 10th. It is a great day out here today. Not hot, but rather mild. A rather mild September day. And here's a crazy fact about today. Did you know that September 10th is World Suicide Awareness Day? And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Because I found out in the arts department of my college that there's a number of signs regarding regarding the events that are to take place where people give stories where they witnessed suicidal events, and their main expressions, well, there's not so much that I could recall for now, but one thing is that 2 years ago there was one guy that jumped off from the top of a parking lot outside of the Mission Viejo Mall and he ended up killing himself. So he committed suicide. Other than that, yesterday was kind of a long day. Watched a lot of YouTube, but one video that I found was about the Tesla Cybertruck and how the project of Tesla Cybertruck manufacturing turned out to be such a failure. Like in 6 years, the project had failed pretty badly. It was even quicker than Pontiac. Like Pontiac failed after 11 years, but the Tesla Cybertruck, like it was just a 6-year project that quickly failed. So people might be debating, like, what the heck is it that's wrong with the Cybertruck? Like, is it still in production? Is it still being manufactured? Well, in the United States, yes, it is. But only in the recent days have I heard that in most European countries, they have stopped manufacturing new versions of the vehicle. And there's been a lot of debates about this, like what has led to this. And there are a lot of factors about that. They just act too early thinking, oh, this is fireproof. And, you know, it will remain clean no matter what. You can drive it as long as 600 miles. Basically, the concept of acting too fast, setting some vivid expectations is the key reason for why the project had failed. And finally, we have put the right cushion back, and hopefully it doesn't come off again. Otherwise, we'll have to put the new parts in, because on Monday evening, I had accidentally plucked out this cushion, but thankfully at the end of yesterday, I'll be able to put it back in. And another thing that I got at the end of the day yesterday, a new shirt from Polo had come. So if you can see the logo, Polo 67, that's something that you would see on the perfumes that they have in Polo Ralph Lauren. Well, fairly fancy.
California Clean Air Vehicle.
Yeah.
Means. That's.
So usually you would get to go to the carpool alone if you would have this sticker. But
starting shortly.
Yeah, we just heard that the law changed. That, is it true that EVs won't use a carpool lane? Wow. Obviously, that's another point of why EVs have been on a downfall.
Do any good job anymore shortly.
Yeah, because, you know, those were the vehicles that had the exemption for the carpool lane where you could drive one rather than multiple. But from what I found at the end of the month, even these guys,
exactly the date.
yeah, I know, but they won't be exempt anymore. It's just another point. Like, I even thought for such a long time and I even studied this, the fact that with less carbon emissions, EVs would be the best idea in vehicle manufacturing. But then after some point, it turns out that the reality in that it has a lot of lithium and its capability of burn, and that, well, whatever car that was, I didn't quite get it. I would have guessed it was a Ferrari, but yeah. So the fact that, like, let's say you're just driving, or you're making a turn, like with some vehicles, after a certain speed, it like goes down on the other side and it just flips over. That's just mad. And honestly, that would kind of suck, being in that situation. Well, there's even a Tesla driver that may know about this. You can tell bad news. Well, yeah, sucks to be you. And also, like, when it comes to charging, it's an insanely rough process. But yeah, like, having heard about that, the law is changing as such that, in carpool lanes, EVs with the sticker on it would have the exemption, but after coming to that realization that they're not as useful, they will even take those out. And basically the carpool, as you might know if you're living in California, or genuinely if you're living in the United States, are for 2+ people in a vehicle. Based on counter arguments, it's like one side, oh, you can still charge your Tesla overnight and you wake up the next morning, drive to work comfortably. But on the other side, it's like, if you're doing a long drive, like 8 or 9 or 10 hour drive, just like what me and my dad used to do every year towards the end of August until 2022, where we would go to Dacia, for instance. We would go to the Octor camp. And while you're doing a long drive, and after the battery lowers down, it's like, oh, where am I going to find a Tesla charging station? I'm like, bang. But even in that process, it's going to be like, you're going to go camping, You might as well have to go camping. It's like, buy a tent, buy a pillow, buy a blanket, get some chips and popcorn, and enjoy the night. And then you get back in a Tesla, I'm like, hey, let's go again. That would be acorns, man. How the heck did this happen? Gotta dodge through these. Ooh, damn. That was just... It was totally messed up. Just like a bunch of Jenga pieces laying on the floor after, like, let's say the cleaning lady just comes around and she's doing cleaning, and you made a Jenga tower, and basically she knocks your Jenga tower down. Like, what the heck? That much messed up it is. And time for a swim. Good thing I can access this pool area at the very least, because the other pool is closed for a rather controversial reason. At first I thought, hey, it could be because of the tree clipping work that has been going on in this neighborhood for almost 1 week. That would have been a fair point, but that's not even the case. You know how this whole area has 2 gates, whereas the other has 3. And basically there's a issue with the unsafety of the gates that has been going on. I thought, what the heck? So yeah, it is closed. I just read from the sign saying it's effective from today. And the other big story is that the iPhone 17 has finally come out. Hurrah! Really? I don't know. But I looked up from one of the sources saying that one of the iPhones came out in orange. Well, that's only for the Pro version though. So if you go to the iPhone 17 Pro section, you'll find one in orange. Because like the classic version of it does have one in lime green. And there are also some reviews regarding some debates about, hey, why don't you release any in the purple or in the pink cover? Like, why? what really is the point? Like, what do we have to get until iPhone 31 to get the pink or the purple colors? Like, now that they've released one in orange, it's the first time that they are releasing an iPhone version with orange. Well, at the time that they released the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 16, they've also come up with the pink color alternative. But the demand of that was just so low. It seemed like the color was just not fit for the production of these phones, and that's why the demand was so low for the pink ones, and many more of them were fascinated. Hey, I like the orange one, let's go get the orange one. And but again, like, there are certain colors that Apple avoids, either because it doesn't come out well for the device, like not for suitable reasons, but especially the fact that some people tend to be a show off when it comes to some other colors. Like, someone might go and say, hey, look at my turquoise Lamborghini, I'm gonna drive it off, hell yeah. Just go off and be crazy with it like a millionaire, you know. All right, now I'm gonna go for a nice swim. It's 6:09 right now, man. Yorkshire Rock. Found something very interesting. It is rather squishy and soft, and something that would lower your level of stress. It's like a stress relief kind of thing. Goo tubes. It gives a really good touch, I gotta say. And they also have one in blue. Amazing. Oh, they do have one more of these. Wow. They have these in 3 different colors. In the Glitter Gush, that's in blue, Rumble Rush in green, and Pearl Swirl in purple. Well, I'm gonna call that it for today's vlog. For tomorrow, I am considering a long vlog, over 15 minutes, and hopefully I can do whatever I couldn't do last week on Friday, which was to explore, oh, was it the Pirate Cave? Yes, the Pirate Cave. So you go to Dana Point, you pass the Marine Institute, you take the stairs down to the beach, and from there it's like a 10-minute walk to the cave. And I will hopefully get a chance to explore there if the sea is nice and calm. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.